Just in time for the summer and for all the al fresco dining we're going to be doing. 10 Chicago restaurants have landed on the list of the best outdoor dining spots in the U.S. So we're not just going to go through the Chicago's best 10. These are 10 that have made the top in the country. And here to run us through these picks is Cheryl Paniagua. She is OpenTable's VP of Restaurant Sales and Services. Cheryl, thank you for being on Chicago Now. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Where are you joining us from, out of curiosity? Where's OpenTable based?
We are headquartered in San Francisco, but you are talking to a fellow Chicagoan.
Oh,
so I'm
really?
in New York.
Do you have a, we don't need to get too specific, but do you have a part of town that you're from or a suburb that you're from?
I live in Oak Park.
All right, that's
Love
a
that.
great town.
So I've
They
never
got a nice
used-
restaurant scene out there too.
Oh, OpenTable. As someone who has never used this, what is OpenTable? What is it used for? And when should we be looking at OpenTable or searching for OpenTable?
Yeah, so OpenTable is a software that helps restaurants run their restaurant operations, take reservations, seat diners, strengthen their relationships with those diners. But for everybody listening who enjoys eating at restaurants, which I assume is everyone, OpenTable is also a great place as a diner to find and book a reservation.
It's super convenient. One of the features I like about it most is that when you can't get a table, for example, you can like sign up for a wait list. They'll actually text you if something becomes available. But it's a very useful platform. And I understand, Cheryl, that you guys have a list that I think a lot of Chicagoans are going to be interested in this time of year. The weather is finally, after a pretty rough May, cooler May, things are finally starting to open up. So what can you tell us about this list and where we should keep in mind for our al fresco adventures this summer?
Yeah, so we have looked at our data, both our diner review data as well as all of the demand metrics that we have to measure the countries across the country that are the top cities for outdoor dining. So Chicago made the list. It came in at number 8. And actually, most of the cities on the list were cities that are warm all year round, cities like Austin and San Diego. So in terms of Chicago showing up on that list, I'm sure that something all three of us can relate to as Chicagoans is that, as we know, outdoor dining in our city in particular is really a well-earned reward for a long, cold winter. So Chicagoans tell us that 53% of folks in our city would prefer to dine outdoors versus indoors when the weather is nice.
We got to spend all the time we can outside. So
Totally
what
agree.
restaurants in Chicago stuck out to you on the list?
Yeah, so we analyzed, like I said, our reviews data, all of our demand data. We came up with a top 10, like you mentioned. So a few of the restaurants that made the cut, for example, are Grill and the Goat, North Pond, Gibson's Italia, one of my personal favorites, Rosemary, which, as a fun fact, is also pet friendly. But there's so many amazing options to choose from. So diners can check out the full list on our summer outdoor dining hub.
Rosemary, that's the one that you mentioned that I've never been to. Tell us about Rosemary.
Oh, you gotta go. It's by Chef Joe Flam. Rosemary's amazing, and as you can tell by them appearing on this list, they have an incredible patio, and they actually now have a fantastic sister restaurant that just opened in the last year that is called Il Carciofo.
Wow. So on this list, do you by chance have pictures of like the most popular items for people to buy or like suggested restaurant orders?
We do. So when you're browsing restaurants on our platform, that is part of the service that we provide to diners. You'll see hundreds or even thousands of reviews, depending on the restaurant, lots of photos, and often a picture of those, gorgeous, enviable patios that we are all after.
Cheryl, what is your advice for folks? Reservations can fill up quickly, especially at some of the most popular spots. I'm assuming these top 10, they're going to get a lot of traffic because of this. I know a lot of people use OpenTable to make their reservations. What advice do you have for folks who are using the app to make the best chances possible that you're going to get that table at the time you want?
Great question. So one piece of advice is consider going at off-peak days or times. So our data says that Saturday, closely followed by Friday, are the most in-demand days for outdoor dining. So diners can certainly consider a nice weekday reservation. But the other pro tip is exactly what you mentioned. Use what we call notify me alerts. So that's a way to set an alert if a restaurant is fully booked and should a hot table come available at the last minute, because you never know when cancellations are going to happen, we will let you know via text so that you can grab it yourself.
So I didn't know this, but I'm not very savvy. I guess some of these reservations are on black markets. That is amazing. So they've sprung up where people will get the prime dinner reservations and then sell them.
Oh.
So how is OpenTable combating these dinner time scalpers?
Yeah, diners have never cared more about getting access to these hot tables. You're spot on. And when problems like this emerge, we think about ourselves as really being in it for and with restaurants when these kinds of problems pop up. So we have done all sorts of work with our tech to try to mitigate bots that auto book reservations and curb, reservation piracy like we're talking about. So we give restaurants tools like the ability to take a credit card authorization at the time a diner is booking, or even charge a paid deposit. And we have a 24/7 fraud team that helps protect them as well.
Okay.
So these make a big difference.
For folks who are old school, who are used to just calling the restaurant direct, is there an advantage? I know you work for the company, so you're going to give us your best sales pitch, but why should I not just call the restaurant directly?
Yeah, first off, our platform aggregates so many of the best restaurants in the city all in one place. So if you're not sure where you want to book, we're a great place to start. But even beyond that, when you book your reservation on OpenTable, you have the ability to earn points through our loyalty program that can be cashed in for a variety of rewards. And then furthermore, if you're booking with us, should you need to modify or manage your reservation, you can do that very easily. And you can even direct message with the restaurant if you have any questions, or say that happens to all of us, say you're running a few minutes late as you're about to arrive.
Out of all of the restaurants that you had across the country, is there one that stuck out to you if someone is like, what's the destination of destinations for an outdoor dining experience?
Oh, I'm going to continue to plug within Chicago. There was a stat that came out of our research that something diners care a lot about when they're dining outdoors is an amazing view. Unsurprising. But 76% of Chicagoans told us that their favorite view is of the water. Yeah. So one that I think really stands out is North Pond in Lincoln Park. It is just one of the most amazing places that you can dine outside with a great view of Lake Michigan. And their chef, Cesar Murillo, is actually currently competing in the Final Four on Top Chef right now. So they're getting a lot of attention as well.
I have had the privilege of being hosted at North Pond by my friend's parents.
Oh.
So we got to order up at North Pond. You are absolutely right. The views, it's so cool. It's right there in Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
Like in actual Lincoln Park. You wouldn't even know it's there because it's not in like a business district. It's not like on a strip of restaurants. It's like in the leafy part of the park, correct?
Whoa. Yeah, it is in the leafy part. That's a great way to put it. It is right on top of the water, and it is a Michelin awarded meal. So one of the absolute, not only best views in the city, but also some of the best food that you can eat in Chicago.
So al fresco, does that count like rooftop restaurants?
I would count
this is
that.
Just anything that's
this
outside.
includes rooftops, right?
We count all things outdoors. If you are not inside of four walls, it counts.
Okay, if someone, Cheryl, is specifically looking for a rooftop, as Caitlin mentioned, do you have any thoughts there?
Oh man, so rooftops. We have a lot of great cocktail destinations, which we work with a lot of cocktail restaurants as well. I know that one of my favorites is Cindy's. It overlooks Millennium Park and the Bean, so it's just a real iconic Chicago experience.
Oh, okay.
Cindy's is beautiful. Actually, we should go there after the show one time.
I was going to
it's
say,
only
can
about,
we see it?
It's like 2 blocks down that way, down Michigan Avenue. Speaking of views, that view is unbelievable of the park and the lake.
Cindy.
All
so
right.
if you have guests coming into town, maybe that would be a good spot to see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
I
a good
think so.
play. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Cheryl, can I just say, you have the most beautiful blue eyes.
Oh, why, thank you.
They just pop right off the screen.
Come back
Thanks for joining us.
anytime.
This was so informative.
Cheryl Paniagua. Do we get your last name pronunciation correct?
You guys nailed it.
Okay.
It literally translates to bread and water in Spanish. You
Oh,
did
so
great.
you had to
way.
become a senior executive with OpenTable.
That's amazing.
Of course.
Bread and
And
water,
thanks again
that's
for
cool.
having me.
Yeah,
I can
absolutely.
talk
Come
food,
back
restaurants,
sometime.
and patios all day.
Yeah, we'll do the indoor dining spots before the
For
winter
sure.
months. All
Have
right,
a great
Cheryl.
weekend.
Sounds
Have a
like
great
a plan.
weekend.